Hello, people that like to drink through straws. I like to drink smoothies, so I like these big straws. And you don't want plastic. These are just stainless steel ones, but after seeing an article of someone dying, supposedly dying by using a coffee mug for 10 years of cheap stainless steel, I've decided to go titanium. Stainless steel is fine if it's food grade, like 316 is the best, but these listings on AliExpress don't really say what grade of steel it's made of, so I have to assume it's 304. So if you put 304 into lime juice, citrus drinks, coffees, teas, acidic beverages, it's leaching some metal out, and that probably isn't good for you. Anyways, so we got two different brands. I decided to just try both. I forget, one's slightly more expensive than the other, but a dollar or two for my long-term health, I'm okay with that. Let's see, Keith Titanium. When I say a dollar or two, that's the difference in price. I think these straws are like maybe $6 or $7 each, depending on which one you're getting. Alright, so it's nice that... That's weird. The big one came with two brushes, but the little one didn't come with a brush at all. So that's odd. But clearly, I now have two brushes. They were probably packed per order, maybe. Alright, so looking at this now... You know what? I gotta leave this card here. I'm gonna forget. So the Keith ones are on the left. Some sort of approval thing. And then the curved thin one. And then over here we have the TiTo brand. TiTo Titanium. And it comes with this... I guess if you're camping, you don't want the stuff scratching up other things. But for me, it's just garbage that I don't really want. These bags and stuff like that. Is someone really gonna put this in? Can't. Well, I guess I should probably just leave a bag here again. I'm gonna make sure it's clear. This one, I don't know if it actually says the dimensions on it, so I'm gonna have to pull some dimensions here. I'm sure the listings must say it, but I want to make sure they're accurate. Figures. Things dropping all over the place. It looks like the brush is in the middle of this. Yeah, alright, so there is a brush that comes with this one and the other one. They're just inside this straw, which actually makes sense, I think. Okay, back to Keith. So, looking at this, it seems like there's some branding here. I just can't focus on it because it's so... There we go. The Keith, this is actually stamped in there. It's not laser rastered. It's literally either CNC machined. Those are deep grooves. CNC machined or stamped. And this either serial number or production. Maybe 2024. 09 September or batch. I don't know. That's kind of crazy. It's not your typical sandblasted finish. It's like almost like a hammered finish or something. Or you know what? These are probably thrown into a tumbling machine, and maybe some abrasive media gave it this polished yet like a stone polishing finish. And here you can see the weld bead that made this a tube at some point before it was rolled sheet metal. And now it brings up the question first. This is around 12 millimeters in diameter, and the wall thickness is maybe 0.2. Okay, which is fine. This is strong. There's no way you could deform that unless you maybe... I guess you would have to stand on it or, put in a hole and leverage the thing. For drinking beverages, perfectly strong. Pretty good reflection in there, so it's got to be pretty smooth, except for the weld bead, of course. And then lengthwise, I guess I gotta back out here. It's coming in at that long. It's around 21 centimeters or like 8 1/4 inches. Alright, the bent one's a little bit more difficult. The bent one is around 21, 8 1/4 again, but the actual straight ends around 15 centimeters or around 5.5 inches. Maybe 5 3/4. And then it starts kicking off to a different direction. And so now the diameter of this one is 7 on the outside, and then inside is maybe 6. These are cheap calipers, so the inside of this is like 10.8 or 11 maybe. Yeah, 10.8. From my experience, this will not be useful for like a blended smoothie. The chunks of ice or fruit, they're just going to get stuck in there. So this is really only for actual liquid beverages. This thing, you'll have no problem drinking a slushy through there. Bobas, though, some of the boba things are kind of big, so you might have a hard time actually sucking some boba bubbles through that thing. But I think for most shakes and stuff, it should be okay. Okay, so it's silly to check, but you want to make sure the brush can actually, go through the thing. So in this case, this will not clean it in one pass. You're literally going to have to flip it over to get to the other side, right? Yeah, so that's a little bit more effort on that one. The straight shot one, though, yeah, you don't have to flip it over, so that's very convenient. A couple shots through that thing, and that thing will be clean. I guess we'll weigh them later. Let's take a look at the dimensions of this thing. First, it says TiTo. I always think of Tito Fuente. This I think is laser rastered. I can't feel that text, so I have to assume it's etched in with the laser. But it does the brand, and it does say titanium. And this is a sandblasted finish, what I'm accustomed to seeing in many titanium products. I will say both of these, the edges, there's no sharpness to them. This one actually feels much smoother because it's polished, and maybe that's giving me the sensation it's safer. This one because it snags my fingers because it's abrasive finish. But I don't think either of them are going to cut you. You'll notice this TiTo is not angled to cut, whereas the bottom of this one has an angle, so you're always going to be able to suck some liquids, but a little bit of liquid's going to be left over. This one could theoretically get stuck on the bottom and prevent you from slurping up some beverages there. But you'll get every drop out of there. So now they're around the same length, as you can see here. But this one has the TiTo has a greater bend to it. But yeah, definitely they're around this. Sorry, it's hard to show all this. I would say they're the same length of tube almost. Okay. So I do feel also the sandblasted finish, maybe it'll be slightly harder to clean because some stuff is going to get into that grain, but this will just be easier to clean being polished, more smooth at least. But I think it's really minimal as far as it's not going to be a big problem to clean this. Alright, so now this one, the outer diameter is around 12, and the inner diameter is around same thing, around 10.9. But again, sandblasted finish, and somewhere on here is probably the branding, or not. No, there it is. So it is there. So that's how you know, I guess you're getting a real TiTo titanium product. And then let's see about the lengths of these. Oh, the TiTo's slightly longer. It's like 3 millimeters longer. Very, very marginal length difference. And then both of them are angled on the bottom, so that's fine. Yeah, it's just one sandblasted, one is polished. I'm curious about looking at the welding bead, if there even is one on this. Do you see a bead? I don't see a bead, unless it's been polished out. Huh. So maybe this is just a drawn titanium tube out of a die or something. I'm not even sure how they draw a titanium tube, so I don't know. Whereas this one used to be sheet metal, and they welded it. I think both are perfectly strong. You can't even tell on the outside this was welded, right? So that's interesting. I suppose this is a higher quality product, maybe, because there's no weld bead. I don't think it matters so much. The question now is, do the straws actually get cleaned by these brushes? Excuse me, I had to cough almost. Oh, now this thing doesn't want to clean the whole brush. Look how far short it came. So you're going to have to flip this brush around. Yeah, you got to do a double pass from both sides there. And then the little one, yeah, can I tell you, right? It's clearly not going to clean the whole thing at one time. So they're both even, at least on the bent straw one. But the Keith one, they do give you the longer cleaning brush, so it will be faster to clean that out, assuming you remember to bring your brush camping or wherever. I have a suspicion they're going to weigh almost the same. So the bent Keith one, oh boy. God, hold on, I'm going to get some putty here. Some putty. Tear. Okay. Keith is 10.2-ish versus TiTo. Come on now. Nope. Whoa, that's a big difference. 8.2 versus 10.2. Right, this is literally floating in the air. It's not touching anything. I gotta do that again. So that means Keith is a thicker titanium or different. Maybe they're different grades of titanium. That's definitely a 2-gram difference, right? Maybe it's that is there a welding bead in this little one? Anyways, I took a flashlight in there, and I don't see a welding bead inside of this thing. It seems perfectly smooth inside there. So maybe just a drawn tube or something. Okay, let's compare the weight of these, the larger one here. So we have Keith again. Oh, scale turned off. This is 19.3 grams in that ballpark. TiTo, 18. So yeah, this is physically shorter and yet it's heavier. So again, it makes me believe that perhaps this is a slightly thicker tube, hence for stronger. But you know, if you're gonna go lightweight camping, you might want to go with the TiTos because they're physically lighter. Still, this feels very strong. I have a hard time thinking you're gonna break this unless you physically try to destroy it somehow. All right, let's get that out here. This is kind of an unnecessary test, but if you have stainless steel stuff, you can buy this liquid, and if it changes in 3 minutes to one of these colors, it's telling you the grade of stainless steel. And so this is really bad stuff, but down here, in food grade, it might change to this yellowish color instead of this aqua greenish color. The titanium should have no reaction, but, and I believe it is titanium just because it's so light. And if it was aluminum, it would be even lighter than this. And you would have no indication of it being strong. If this is that thin of a, well, I don't know. Anyways, I believe both are titanium, but we'll put them all to the test here. And then this is a cheap tea brewing thing. This is going to react very quickly, I think, with this acid. It's some sort of acid, I think. Now here's an issue I'm going to have. The acid's going to roll off the straws. So I might have to just, it's going to pool underneath. And we'll see the staining probably on the bottom side. Let's see. I want to make sure these are perfectly clean. Alright. So I need to get the timer. And that's set to 3 minutes. Let's get this ready. So titanium, I'm not going to even worry. I'm going to start the, oh, see, hold on. So there's a big pool of acid down there. This is a silicone mat, so I'm not too concerned. It's not going to eat through the silicone. Alright, now it's this one, the stainless in that cap. I'm not going to fast forward it, so you might want to come back in 3 minutes, but this should start reacting pretty fast, I think. Alright, I forgot. This actually is high-grade stainless. That's why it hasn't changed colors. This has to be cheap stainless. It's a paint thing. So I'm going to just put this on right now. Not even time it. But let's see. With my luck, it'll actually be high-grade. But looking at the bottom of these straws here, you can see this red. So that's telling me this is a lower grade of stainless steel. It's probably 30. Actually, it's probably 301. It's not even 304 because it's got a shade of like pink in it. So that's not good. I'm gonna have to throw those out. Those are not good at all. Yeah, you can see now this paint thing. It's already reacting within like 10-20 seconds. So this is some low grade stainless. This T thing is actually higher grade. It's probably 316. So anyways, not pertinent to these titanium straws, but here you can see the liquid. There's no discoloration whatsoever because it's titanium. Right on this side here, right, no discoloration. Yeah, it's just wet, that's all. So these are definitely titanium straws, and yeah, that's definitely stainless steel, not even a really good stainless steel. So maybe I'll use those for some model projects. They could become part of a diorama or something like that. So I would say both of these are fine. The Keith one and the TiTo ones. I think if you're going for high strength, maybe the Keith is a little bit better because it's physically heavier. But if you're going lightweight camping, and if you like the sandblasted finish, the TiTo. But I do feel like it'll be easier to clean, a smoother surface. So that's another thing. But this thing has a flat bottom, this one, whereas both of these are angled. Only the large one is angled. I would say physically they're around the same size, diameter-wise and even length-wise, give or take a few millimeters. So really it's just up to you, up to your preference, but definitely titanium is better than stainless steel if you're going to be putting these into acidic drinks. Citrus, coffee, tea, that kind of stuff. Okay, well, thank you for watching. Hopefully this will help you guys out if you're going to spend some money on some stuff. And also, thanks to a commenter, do not drive a vehicle and have a rigid straw. Because if you get into a car accident, that straw is going to go through your head. It could theoretically, impale your brain. It could kill you, right? So if you're going to drive, well, sadly, use a plastic straw or maybe a paper straw. All right, luckily I don't do that. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you in the next random product review.